Angels underwater, how dolphins saved divers from sharks. The sky above the sea was clear, and a gentle ocean breeze played with the waves, as if hinting at something incredible. A group of divers, gathered for their annual dive to explore a legendary sunken settlement, had no idea that this day would test not only their courage but also their ability to witness nature's miracles. Among them was Alexei, a seasoned diver, a man of strong character with an endless love for the sea, and Marina, a quiet yet observant researcher whose eyes saw more than just the underwater world. The preparations for the dive had a friendly, almost family-like feel. Laughter mixed with the clatter of setting up gear, and the wind carried a sense of anticipation for something important. But as soon as the group descended below the surface, a story began to unfold deep in the ocean, one filled with intense fear, terror, and, at the same time, a breathtaking beauty. As the sun's rays started to pierce through the misty layers of water, the underwater world revealed its endless secrets. The reefs looked like fairy tale castles, and the corals stood as ancient guardians of marine legends. The divers cautiously moved through labyrinths of seaweed, feeling the thrill of every moment. Yet, hidden in the depths, beneath the calm waves, lay a nightmare no one had ever imagined. Alexei, leading the group, suddenly noticed a strange movement in the distance. In the dark blue gloom, fleeting shapes moved quickly, ominously, and almost imperceptibly. His heart began to race, his instincts screamed that something wasn't right. He quietly signaled the others, and the group started to huddle together. The cool water grew darker as an atmosphere of unimaginable danger thickened around them. Suddenly, one young diver, still untested by hardships, noticed a shadow gliding past. In a panic, he looked around and met the fierce, glinting eyes of a shark. For a moment, time seemed to stop, every breath came faster, nerves were stretched to their limits, and the line between life and death was as thin as a layer of mother-of-pearl. Despair and terror gripped them all. The roar of the surf was replaced by the echo of pounding hearts, and every breath felt heavy, as if their very lives depended on each molecule of oxygen. Marina recalled the old sailors' tales of the curse of the depths, when the ocean would suddenly reveal its dark side and nature would remind people of its primal power. With dread in their eyes, the divers watched as sharks, lurking in the shadows like demons of the night, stirred up ancient fears. In the midst of this swirling vortex of emotions, Alexei realized that if they didn't find a way out, they might become victims of this relentless force. With every passing second, the ocean's silence turned into a sinister turmoil, and fear crept into the hearts of even the bravest souls, exposing their vulnerability. Then, at the very moment when panic had gripped the group, as if in a cruel twist of fate, a brilliant light suddenly flashed from the dark depths. A clear, ringing sound cut through the silence, echoing like the wings of angels, and mysterious beings, almost mythical in appearance, rushed to their aid. Dolphins, the gentle guardians of the sea, with their sparkling eyes and graceful, flowing movements, emerged from the depths to encircle the divers. It was an event no one saw coming. On one hand, nature was carrying on with its mysterious ritual. On the other, this unexpected help arrived like angels descending underwater. As if driven by pure instinct, the dolphins swam around the sharks, beginning a mesmerizing, protective dance. Their movements were smooth and confident, and their eyes locked with those of the predators, as if they knew that these creatures had no right to destroy life. The atmosphere of terror slowly gave way to an amazing sense of harmony. Even as the threat of death loomed, hope emerged. The group of divers, caught between fear and hope, watched in awe at this miraculous underwater display. The sharks, blinded by the sudden brightness and strength of the dolphins, began to slow down. Their once ferocious attacks softened, and the fear that had gripped not just the divers but even the predators themselves seemed to wane. Alexei, feeling his own fear slowly replaced by a quiet faith, started signaling the group, helping them to regroup and move together. Deep within each one of them, a spark of life ignited, a spark that meant not only would they survive, but they would also witness an unexplainable marvel, the appearance of angels underwater. And so, the battle between nature's fiercest hunters and its gentle protectors raged on beneath the waves, a powerful reminder that sometimes, even in the darkest moments, hope shines through. Calm slowly began to return to the ocean floor. The dolphins, like skilled conductors, orchestrated the chorus of sea life, even making the sharks back off. It almost seemed as if they were speaking their mysterious language with the ocean, calling out to help those in trouble. One dolphin, the boldest and most determined of them all, swam closer to the group of sharks, as if trying to understand their intentions. He circled around them, making a series of sharp, purposeful moves that made the sharks seem to question their right to attack. Every movement of his was filled with determination, and his eyes shone with a deep love for all the ocean's creatures. On Alexei's face you could read gratitude and amazement. He realized that meeting these beings wasn't a coincidence. In fact, it seemed as if nature itself had decided to step in and remind humankind that life always finds a way to seek harmony. In that moment, fear gave way to a deep respect for the ocean's mysteries, and horror was replaced by a tender gratitude for every chance to experience life in all its many facets. At the same time, every diver felt a growing certainty deep inside that the ocean isn't just an endless, dangerous void, it's a living, speaking organism, ready to protect its own if we only open our eyes to the wonders it holds. Gradually, the threat began to fade. After playing the role of guardian angels, the dolphins carefully led the group of divers to a safe zone where the water was warmer and the threat of vicious sharks had disappeared. Alexei and his companions, still overwhelmed with emotions, realized that their rescue had been made possible by trusting the subconscious call of the ocean and a phenomenon that many had believed to be just a myth. Each one of them tried to comprehend the enormity of what had happened. The fear they had faced in that ominous moment had seemed almost unbearable, yet the sudden intervention of the dolphins gave them a chance to feel that even in the darkest depths there is still light, even when everything around suggests danger and chaos. They had witnessed a battle where goodness emerged victorious, and the ocean proved that it can be not only mysterious and dangerous, but also generous. When the group of divers finally reached the surface, a whole spectrum of feelings awoke in their souls, from immense relief to an indescribable awe before the force of nature. They looked at the sun reflecting on the calm waters and felt that each of them now carried a piece of that majestic miracle within. Alexei sat silently on the boat's deck for a long time, watching the horizon slowly melt into the gentle twilight. He knew that life is meant for extraordinary encounters and that fate lays out its tests to remind us of our deepest purpose. Marina, ever observant, carefully noted every detail in her little notebook, from the bright flashes of light underwater to the subdued sounds of beating hearts. Her words might one day hold the key to unlocking many of the ocean's mysteries, a place that is ready to bestow real miracles on those who are sincere and brave. Beneath a sky of clouds over the sea, where the shadow of the sharks gave way to the shining silhouettes of dolphins, every diver came to understand, the depths of the ocean are not just a realm of danger and fear, but a temple of eternal harmony, where even in the harshest moments you can find protection and support. Some would call it a miracle, others a sign from above. But for all who experienced that moment, it would forever remain in their hearts as a reminder that even the darkest hours can be lit up by underwater angels. This story, packed with intense feelings, fear, and a deep awe for the power of nature, reminds us that the ocean can work miracles if we trust its cues and listen to its voice. The underwater angels, dolphins, whose courage and devotion to life have come to symbolize hope for anyone ever gripped by the terror of the stormy, mysterious deep. Even now, years later, the tale of that day is passed along from sailor to sailor, from diver to diver, like an old legend. It's the legend of how nature's might, embodied by kind and gentle dolphins, gave people the chance to see that even in our darkest moments, there can be a glimmer of light strong enough to chase away looming despair. Let this story remind each of us that in a world filled with uncertainty and danger, there are always angels ready to lend a hand, if we can only hear their quiet call amid the storm. As you dive into this whirlwind of emotions and experiences, you realize that each of us is not only responsible for our own life but also holds a part of nature's great power, a power that can save us when every path seems blocked. And if despair ever settles in your heart, just remember the miracle of underwater rescue, the dolphins who became angels in a world where fear gives way to hope. And sir, this unusual story comes to an end, a story of how the ocean, full of secrets and mysteries, offered a chance at a new beginning and reminded us that even in our bleakest moments, a spark of salvation can appear. May everyone who hears this tale rediscover their faith in miracles and understand that even when darkness and terror seem all around, nature is ready to wrap us in its embrace and affirm the strength of goodness. With this story, we say, trust the ocean, listen to its voice, and perhaps your own encounter with its underwater angels could mark the start of a great transformation. Miracles happen when our hearts are open and our souls can welcome light even in the deepest darkness. The end.